allowing boards of county commissioners to designate by resolution any public roads, and that includes state roads, county roads, federal roads in the county as section of pioneer trails. A pioneer trail consists of any public roads that follow closely to original routes of travel of national historical significance. If a county designates a portion of state highway as a pioneer trail, the designation is not effective until acted on by the Joint Assembly, General Assembly, and also designating portions of state highway as pioneer trails. If any of the designated roads are on public lands administered by the federal government, and that includes the U.S. Forest Service, a copy of the resolution is required to be forwarded to that organization as well. The county can allow to be posted and informative signs related to the Pioneer Trail along those designated roadways. As you know, El Paso County is home of Pikes Peak, which is truly America's mountain. It's an American icon, but more than that, it is a symbol of the resourcefulness and determination needed to conquer new frontiers. While there are many fascinating stories about the exploration of the American West, the story of Zebulon Pike's heroic attempts to master our mountain is one of the most memorable. And having spent a lot of time with Harv, I have learned so much more than I ever knew, even growing up in this area, about the pike. So he is truly an expert on Pikes Peak and Zebulon Pike. So I encourage you to spend some time with him. With the statue of Zebulon Pike standing proudly at our entrance of the Terry R. Harris Judicial Building, El Paso County proudly honors the spirit of the adventure of the quest for knowledge exemplified by Pike and all true explorers. This proposed resolution before you today will designate over 50 miles of roadways identified in the resolution attached, and you have a map and have one over on overhead as well, as sections of Pioneer Trail to honor the achievement of the Pike expedition. This resolution directs the county engineer to notify all impacted jurisdictions, and that includes U.S. Forest Service, CDOT, and the City of Colorado Springs, and allows the county engineer to post informative signs related to the Pike Trail in accordance with the engineering criteria manual. And it is anticipated that the next step is to take this resolution together with other resolutions completed by other counties within the state, and Jim Wilson will introduce an upcoming bill in the legislative session that carries forth all of these individual county designations and to finalize the designation of various state highways as part of the Pioneer Trail. Today we are requesting the El Paso County Board of County Commissioners to approve this resolution to designate the Zebulon Pike's route as a Pioneer Trail in El Paso County. This is an important step that recognizes the special appreciation for educational, recreational, economic, and the historic importance of having Pike's route preserved as a pioneer trail in El Paso County. And with that, I would like to introduce Harv Hisgren. He is the president of the Pike National Historic Trail Association. He has a great presentation to make to you today.
Thank you, Jennifer. I've been in touch with many of you folks, Peggy from years ago and Stan, and I appreciate your help. Mr. Gonzalez, I talked with a year ago. Before I give you the particulars about what's happening in El Paso County, I want to give you some idea of where Pike was in his lifetime. The picture that you see on the left-hand side is of General Zebulon Montgomery Pike. It's done by a retired Walt Disney artist, which we have on staff. The picture on the bottom was done by Norm Van Hoy, here, a photographer here in Colorado Springs. Pike was here from November 25th to the 28th, 1806. And perhaps some of you will remember the bicentennial year in 2006, when Dave Phillips from the Gazette led people up on the 26th of November from 115, right next to Fort Carson, all the way up to the top of Mount Rosa. Mount Rosa is where Pike got to. It's about 13 miles as a crow flies from the Pike's Grand Mountain, or the Spanish El Capitan. That mountain, of course, was named for him afterwards. The attempt was not successful. He missed it by 10 miles because there was some snow on the ground, considerable amount of snow, and they were wearing cotton clothing. Chris, do I have control? Okay. Pike in his lifetime actually had many expeditions. His first expedition, he was sent up in 1805, that's 3 years after the Louisiana Purchase, by the United States government to tell the British, you better start paying your tariff up at the headwaters of the Mississippi River. So you can see on this map, the line going up to Minnesota is his first expedition. The second one is the one on the left, his Southwest expedition. That's what you were celebrating here with the bicentennial in Colorado Springs and communities all along the way. That is truly an international trail because he was brought into 3 provinces of Mexico. On the Ohio River, he was a cargo boat captain. He probably made more than 10 trips all the way from Pittsburgh, which is where it splits on the east, all the way to his father's fort at Fort Massac in southern Illinois. He was born in New Jersey, and he died in Toronto, winning a battle at the Battle of Troy, Battle of York, excuse me, when shrapnel after the battle hit him in the back of the head, and he died going back to Sackett's Harbor on the east side of Lake Ontario. He was involved with the Battle of Tippecanoe in Indiana, and he was a general leading troops to see what the British were up to in the capital, Montreal. This is a map of the second expedition. This is a map of the Pike Trail in Colorado. You can see El Paso County. I have it marked with a bead up there. That's where Pikes Peak is. The black indicates our auto tour. The red indicates Pike's trip, his attempt to climb the peak, and the purple is a bike hike route. So now you can see where his camps were in 1806 in El Paso County, and he made it up to Mount Rosa. Now you can see that Pikes Peak is not that far away from Mount Rosa, but there's a big mountain ridge coming down off the north side of Mount Rosa and then climbing up to the where the Cog Railroad used to operate. The visitor center at the top of Pikes Peak is now being rebuilt and is oriented toward Mount Rosa. I wonder why. This is what you are being asked to resolve to approve. Basically 115 in the south, on the west side of Fort Carson, on into the city and up 24, up to the Pikes Peak Tollway, and to the top of Pikes Peak, and then out of the county toward Woodland Park on US 24. Yes, you are featured in our children's book done by the Disney artist. If you want to color this in, go ahead. But Ed French, who is the artist, has put together this book, and you're on page 28. We also have T-shirts. I have a couple if you want to see them afterwards. The one in the top, of course, features Pike coming off the south ridge of Mount Rosa, looking at the mountain that he didn't climb. The one on the right is the Royal Gorge. He's standing at the top there. And yes, many of us have stood where the incline was at the Royal Gorge, where Pike stood and climbed up this gorge. He's climbing up on the right-hand side, and boy, is that realistic. The one in the upper left is him sighting the small blue cloud. And the small blue cloud is Pikes Peak. It's 170 miles away in Los Animas. He sighted it on November 15th at 2 p.m. in the afternoon, and 200 years to the minute we were setting up a monument, a stone monument, to the sighting of your small blue cloud. Pikes Grand Mountain, the Spanish El Capitan, and now Pikes Peak. Just quickly, Ed has done other paintings. Do you know what that animal is on the right-hand side? It's a bighorn. It happens to be the state animal. And guess who discovered it in the upper Arkansas? Zebulon Montgomery Pike. He celebrated Christmas near Salida, that's the one on the lower left, with unsalted pork, beef, or buffalo, whatever it was. In Salida, one of our board members, 96-year-old Monty Zebulon Montgomery Pike, he is himself a World War II hero. Monty served unsalted pork on December 25th, 2006 to his guests during the bicentennial. The one on the right is his getting hit in the back of the head with shrapnel at the Battle of York. This is the newest one. This is Mount Albert and Mount Massive up near Leadville. I'd like to see, is Annie here? Annie Oatman Gardner?
Nope.
The Senator Bennett and Annie in particular have reintroduced the federal legislation to have the Pike National Historic Trail designated, or a feasibility study done to the designation of the National Trail. Because things have not worked very well in the Senate of the United States, Jim Wilson, Representative Jim Wilson, Speaker of the Senate, help me, what's his name? The Speaker of the Senate. Pardon?
Kevin Grantham.
Yeah, Kevin Grantham and Senator Gonzalez and Garcia from Pueblo introduced the Pioneer Trail Bill, which Jennifer mentioned to you. The Pioneer Trail Bill is basically the enabling legislation for us to put the Pike Trail in Colorado. We are now designated in 14 of 17 counties that Pike was in, And hopefully, after I get to sit down, it'll be 15 out of 17.
Okay.
I'd like to introduce the former executive secretary of the South Park National Heritage Corridor and our chairman of the Pike Trail in Colorado, Linda Balo.
He's taller than I am. Thank you very much for considering the resolution. And this has got to be a wonderful day for us because El Paso County, Pikes Peak is the center. It's actually the cornerstone of the whole trail, the whole information about Zebulon Pike. And I think it opens up so much. As we had first looked into the feasibility study for the National Trail and going through the federal sometimes a quagmire of making it happen, things were slowing down. And when I had an opportunity to talk with Representative Wilson, he said, well, why don't we do this? Why don't we have, because it had been brought before the state with a unanimous approval of moving forward with this national trail. And I said, well, wait a minute, we have unanimous approval in Colorado. Why don't we start with the grassroots? Why don't we let the people of Colorado start this? And other states will jump on board, and then eventually it can happen on a national level. So you're kind of the lead, kind of the forefront of honoring this trail. And everybody's familiar with the Lewis and Clark Trail, and I could never understand, even in school, well, why aren't we excited about Zebulon Pike? Well, we are now. So I really appreciate you guys making that forward move to make this be the thing that we can take before the federal government and say, look, the people want this. It's obvious. And with Representative Wilson starting with the counties, it seemed like the logical way to go. So we're really looking forward to it. And it opens opportunities for the tourism. I mean, who doesn't want to follow the trail then to come to Pikes Peak to hang out and spend some time and some money? And with the educational opportunities, living in this area or coming as a new person to this area and finding out how all of this came about. You know, how did this happen? And it kind of happened with that first expedition coming out with some guys that didn't quite know what they were going to get themselves into. They were still wearing summer uniforms. And if you delve into it, it gets really interesting as to how they managed to brave through this. So thank you very much, and we really appreciate it.
Okay, great. Jennifer, anything else? Okay, great.
I'd also like to thank Jennifer for attempting to help us in Teller County. Teller County is one of the counties left after today. And if anybody has influence in Teller County, please ask them to pass a similar resolution there. Mount Rosa basically sits on the border between the two counties, and part of the toll road sits in Teller County also. So we would like to have that piece also if possible. And I thank Jennifer for helping on that. And if anybody can help on the board or in the audience, we would appreciate it.
Thank you very much.
Just an update in regards to that. I spoke with Commissioner Steen last week while we were at PPACG, and we are coordinating in addition with Teller County to assist with getting that passed. Other than that, I just want to say thanks to Harv. He's been great to work with, and appreciate the board considering this item today.
Okay, great. Discussion, proposed motion?
Yeah, well, I just,
Commissioner
if I might, just a couple of comments. Thank you. I'll extend that thanks as well. And my bet would be is that Teller County will be there for you. So it's only a matter of time. However, if there is an issue, I know all three commissioners very, very well up in Teller County. But I know Jennifer's already coordinating, and I'm sure they'll be there because, you know, this is just an interesting set of historical facts, and I appreciate your coming here. And I learned a little bit about Zebulon Pike from the presentation. So, there you go. That's what it's all about, right? A little bit about history. And if that is okay, if you all are willing, I'll enter the motion.
I'd like to second.
Let me enter the motion.
Okay.
I move for approval of the
Okay.
resolution designating certain public roads in El Paso County as a section of a pioneer trail. And now I'm done.
Okay, so sorry, I thought you said I would introduce that as a motion, so, okay, for approval. So I would like to second that.
All right, any further discussion?
Yep.
Okay, I will then call the roll. Commissioner Littleton.
Thanks for all your work. Aye.
Commissioner Vanderwerf.
Aye.
President votes aye. That passes unanimously with Commissioners Gonzalez and Waller excused. Great job. Thank you.
Excellent. Yay.
Item 11.
Hearing on the application by Circle K Stores, Inc.,